Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Relix, and today we're going to discuss My Hero Academia's 15th episode for Season 7, and this is going to be one of the more interesting reviews for me. So admittedly, I'm going to straight out the bat, I'm going to say that I didn't really care for this episode as much. I'm a little conflicted about how the episode itself was structured, as well as the events that actually happened in the episode. Obviously, I'm pretty sure it is staying faithful to the manga, right? So maybe it was structured this way in the manga. I don't know, but to me, at least, it just didn't. It just felt too convenient for a lot of reasons, for both the villains and the heroes. And then, of course, I felt like the way the episode itself was played out, it just didn't look clean. Like, there's a lot of errors with it that I felt like there has to be something missing, or whoever, either the animators or the manga creator itself, they forgot something, that made it too convenient for something to happen and then lead to the next thing. But overall, animation itself is still clean as ever. It still looks great. The characters have good voice acting, and I have no problems with that. It's just the overall, the overall view of the episode, it just didn't look very good to me, and so that's why we're here to discuss it. It's a review here. So, as always, spoilers. So here's the hero of the episode for me, at least. Unfortunately, I don't think there was a single hero outside of Tentacle that actually did anything. Like, if you really watch the episode, not a single hero did anything to actually, save a life or save the day or win their battles. The only one you can really argue that actually did something would probably be maybe President Mike, but at the same time, he didn't win his battle either. So we'll get into that. But yeah, I have a lot of things to talk about here. I'm a little concerned about how the anime's been going. If you guys have watched my previous episodes, episode 13 and 14 both got 4 ratings, 4 out of 10. That's on my scale, below average. 5 is average, and that's just not good. Things just have been kind of either not really like boring, but per se, but like not so good. Like, I'm not really interested in these side plots that just kind of really don't matter, and it's kind of disappointing to see. I want to see the action with the main villains, with the main heroes, and how that's going. But unfortunately, that's not where we got here. It is leading into some of those issues, though, and that's kind of exciting. So that's why it's not like it's a totally, dump this episode, forget about it. But overall, I'm just a little disappointed in how things have been, running, for the past few episodes, and how the plots are coming together. But we'll see. For now, let's take a look at how this episode started. So we did get a very small recap of what happened in the last episode, and I knew it. We were going to continue with Spinner and everything that he's doing, and he broke into the hospital in the last episode, very end. We heard gunshots as well. So again, another inconsistency. I have to start with that. The inconsistency from one episode to the next. Gordy, the guerrilla officer who pulled the gun and started shooting the gun, we can clearly hear the gunshots. I don't know. We don't actually see anyone die. For the most part, the PLF villains are all alive and well, or are a what's the word I'm looking for? In custody. And we never see that anyone dies. Even the heroes. We don't see any of the heroes die. And so I get the feeling that it's just an angry mob that the police have to try and contain. So honestly, the tension isn't there, and it just really looks pretty bad. Like, the whole city's on fire, or the area's on fire, buildings are being destroyed, but there's really no tension. There's no one getting hurt, there's no one getting killed. The only ones who are really shown to be hurt are Tentacle. Yeah, that's it. That's it. He's the only one who's shown to be damaged in any way. The police are fine. Kota is fine. The other pro heroes are fine. Like it's very disappointing to see. Very inconsistent. And like I said, Gordy pulled the gun, but we don't see anyone shot and dead. I mean, that alone would probably justify the PLF members to fight until death, right? I mean, they're shooting them now. And overall, I'm just a little disappointed in that results. But Spinner does get inside, as does some of the PLF members. And then we do get to see that Shigaraki has a little flashback saying that he needs to play this recording of Shigaraki's voice or All For One's. Apparently it's got both, I don't know. But it does have voice recordings, and if he plays this for Kurogiri, who is being trapped in this hospital, he will be able to awaken him and allow him to pretty much activate his quirk and be able to do whatever he wants, and go save the other villains. And so, we get this is a key piece of information. We've seen this piece before. We saw it when Skeptic gave it to him in the first place. Obviously, we didn't know what it was before. Now we do. So that's kind of good information to know. Empty hospital, though. You guys can see in this picture here, as Spinner is running through the main hallway, I suppose, there is no employees. There's no, patients. No one's running around. It's just Spinner and the PLF people following him, and that's kind of it's kind of weird. Even I noticed that in the few seconds that it showed it, but immediately the PLF members stop and they turn to their left side. You guys actually can see the very bottom guy, far bottom guy on the left. He's actually turning left, and that's the guy we're actually going to focus on here too as well. The guys turn left, and they see the doctors and the nurses. We know that they're the doctors and nurses because the top left picture shows the doctor, who has been through a couple episodes, and he's a heteromorph as well, by the way. So they're standing there on the side, holding hands and making sure, I'm assuming that they are making sure that their patients are safe and that they will not get in the way, or they will not stand aside as the PLF members walk in and threaten to destroy the building, if not harm the people inside. Seeing this, the PLF villains are now just stunned. They're taking into account what Tentacle said in the last episode, and that when the pro heroes attacked the hospital at the other site in last season, they made sure that the doctors and nurses and the patients, everyone, all the civilians inside the hospital were safe before going in and attacking Dr. Garaki and going into his lab to find Shigaraki. So that was something that Tentacle spouted out in the last episode, which now is resonating within the minds of these villains. And I thought that was really good. This part I had no problems with. I thought it was a really well done scene. That led to the opening sequence. So cut off to the opening credits. And then we resumed with Spinner. And thank you for the thumbnail, by the way, Spinner. That was funny. So he's running through the hospital by himself now. All the while, his mind is still in a blank phase. He's not being able to comprehend everything that's happening very good. But he is thinking about what is going on, and he's trying to make Shigaraki proud. Obviously, Spinner has mentioned multiple times that everything he does is to make Shigaraki proud, to be by his side every step of the way. He's like a hero to him, I suppose. And at this scene, he's running through the hospital thinking that he's done such a good job. He's gone through, he's battled with the heroes. He's moments away from freeing Kurogiri and, becoming basically the hero for the villains. And as he busts through the final door to Kurogiri's room, we get this little scene here where he's kind of like bursting through like, look at all the people following me. It's amazing. I'm amazing. Be proud of me. But we can clearly see that there is no one behind him. And this is reminiscent of his past and how no one supported him, no one liked him, and he's alone. He is completely alone. And the only thing that's behind him now is President Mike, who followed him in to make sure that he doesn't awaken Kurogiri. And so that's where things start to go a little downhill for me for the episode. So President Mike comes in. First of all, you're telling me that there were no guards. 0 guards, 0 policemen, no pro heroes, no one here watching over Kurogiri and making sure no one, gets to him. Everyone would just happen to be outside. Not one last resort. Not even a trap, a bomb, anything. No, there's nothing. So President Mike is now the last stand for the heroes in protecting Kurogiri, but Spinner's between him and the room. So what does he do? He unleashes his sound wave attack, destroying, by the way, the scale mail that we saw last episode that made Spinner so indestructibly strong. Apparently his battle with Tentacle was nothing because he was still as strong as ever, but going through here, President Mike's quirk just destroyed the scale mail and, basically leaving him completely down for the count. Spinner himself even states that he cannot move. His body will not listen to him. He cannot think straight. He cannot do anything. He is defeated. He is down. He is out. There's nothing he can do now. And we clearly see that his mind is still in a blank right now. I mean, his eyes are the indication here, not so much as what he's doing with his body. I mean, he's not even moving anymore. So it's clear that he is down. There's nothing he should be able to do anymore. But overall, I'm also disappointed because you're telling me that President Mike's sound wave was so strong that it destroyed the scale mail, but it still left some of the buildings still standing. I'm a little disappointed because Tentacle even stated that his attacks were as strong as breaking through concrete. So all of a sudden the scale mail was destroyed from President Mike's quirk. I don't know. That just seems a little too convenient. I know, probably just reading too much into it. Still a great attack. No problem there with President Mike's abilities. I think he's one of the more underrated heroes for sure because his quirk is kind of linear. But, it was a really cool animated scene, and I will give it credit for that. But it just doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, then it cuts away. We go back into the past, by the way. So this was present day. Now we go back, it says literally minutes earlier, and I'm like, why are we jumping back all of a sudden? So we go back to the mob just after President Mike ran into the hospital. And so now we get to go back to when the mob first saw the nurses and doctors holding hands. Outside, though, Tentacle is trying to hold off the other PLF mobs. And I'm just thinking to myself, you're telling me that this kid is all of a sudden the only guy left holding off the entire PLF? Like, where's the police? Where's the other where's Rock Lock? Like, where are the other heroes? Like, this is very disappointing. Like I said, no one got killed. No one's injured. Where is everybody? It makes no sense why Tentacle is the only one remaining. So I'm just nitpicking at this point, but it just doesn't make sense to me. And as Tentacle is trying to hold them off and trying to tell them off, he is attacked from behind. So one of the guys throws an axe at his way. However, the guys from the inside, the POF guys from the inside, come running out. And this guy, the guy we saw who had the stunned face, he actually grabs the axe with his hand, obviously injuring it and blocking the attack, saving Tentacle. And this was a decent moment. The realization for the PLF members that, hey, what they're doing is wrong, and they're harming a bunch of civilians who have nothing to do with their fight. for justice, and that goes a long way. You know, why should you hurt doctors and nurses who probably have taken care of you at some point in the past because of all your injuries, and all of a sudden you're going to kill them for it? That makes no sense. The senseless, I guess, senseless hurting, not killing, I guess in this case, you know, it makes no sense to keep going. And so the guys who were inside, they come out with basically demoralized faces, like they don't believe in what they're fighting for anymore, and they take hands with Tentacle and saying that they regret doing what they have done to this point. And when they got the call to arms, they thought this was their chance to say something, but this wasn't the way to do it. Obviously, Tentacle stated in the last episode that they need to raise their voice, but not in a way that harmed innocent people. And so that's where we are now. The Spider dude, I'm gonna keep calling the Spider-Man dude. He's pinned by Anima. Again, last episode we saw at the end that he was taken away by a bunch of birds. I didn't like that. If that's Anima's strongest quirk move, then I'm a little disappointed. He is a side character. It's not like he's going to be one of the main guys who's like doing all the work or anything like that. But as far as a strong move where he got his horns and everything, that was kind of sad. I was a little disappointed in that. I feel bad for him because he's kind of like a forgotten character. But he is holding down the Spider-Man dude, who continues to spout out that you should follow Spinner, keep attacking. They've mistreated us. Don't let them fool you. But no one's listening now, compared to the last episode where they just kept saying, okay, yeah, you're right. Let's keep going. So now they are now offering forgiveness. Even the Spider guy, he has turned coat as well a little bit, and the pro hero on the left in the top picture is apologizing to him. Now the Spider guy didn't really accept it. He just kind of turned away. He didn't say anything. But we can see in the background there's other heteromorphs that are crying or, trying to make amends. Even apologizing to Tentacle as well. So all of a sudden, the PLF mob has been diffused, and I guess this part of the war over here is over. Just like that. 100% compliance. Everyone's good. And I'm very conflicted about this because we clearly see views of the mob. It's running out throughout the area of the city. Okay, we're talking probably thousands of people. And all of a sudden, because of something that happened at the hospital door, every single person stops? No, that's not how a war works. This is war. This is what people are fighting for. You don't just stop, and just do nothing. I clearly think that there should be some fighting still going on, but if Anima and Tentacle are two of a few heroes. By the way, there's no police in sight. If they're the only two heroes here of a few members of heroes, then they're just letting more of the city be destroyed right now. But at least that's not the case we're getting here, because apparently everyone from the PLF is now good. They've dropped their weapons. They're not going to fight anymore, and everyone's happy, I suppose. So that's another thing that I had a problem with, and I just don't like it. There's no way that we go from last episode where everyone stopped listening to Tentacle and said, Spinner's right. He's right. Let's keep going. Let's go fight and let's destroy everything. And it's just inconsistent. It doesn't make sense. And especially for Tentacle, I like I said, what he did in the last episode was good, but it's unrealistic. There's no way you can change everyone's mind at once. And then, of course, going into this episode, again, the reason I'm giving him the hero of the episode is because what he said in the last episode apparently is resonating with everyone now, But for what reason? Like, there really is no reason besides the doctors and nurses. So technically, I guess you can say the heroes of the episode should have been them, the hospital staff. But I don't know. I'm just a little conflicted about how this episode was just played out overall. And there really wasn't much hero work done, to be honest. I mean, even Tentacle got his butt whooped. So, I'm not sure how to put it into words more than this than I already have. But that's my thoughts on this section. I'm just a little disappointed in how it was played out. But overall, I guess it's a happy ending, and that's all I should really be happy about. After that, the heroes and the police at the end of that scene were seen running into the hospital saying, "Let's help with the fighting inside." But there is no fighting inside. So another contradictory that is like, the only one inside now is Spinner. There is no fighting inside. If there's fighting inside, then again, another inconsistency going into the future. And I just can't get over it. It's mind-boggling. It doesn't make any sense. But we do go back to Spinner and what's happening there. We get to see President Mike walk up. He's defeated Spinner. He's down. He starts to fill his mouth with air. And I think to myself, the way he's talking as well, what is he doing? And I probably shouldn't show that picture yet. And I was thinking to myself, what is he doing? And the way he was talking, he's saying that Shirakumo is gone. Aizawa's injured. He's lost limbs. And, and a lot of things for him, for this war. And so he's saying Shirakumo should stay a memory. Whoever this is, Kurogiri that is, stay away and die. I'm assuming that as a last resort, President Mike was supposed to kill Kurogiri if it came down to it. Now, obviously, he defeated Spinner. So, and even Spinner stated that he cannot move, he cannot do anything. And yet, as President Mike enters the room, literally, I don't know what, 8 to 10 feet away from Kurogiri, mouth, filled with air, he's about to literally unleash an attack that should kill Kurogiri. Spinner stands up, just randomly stands up and says, or puts the Shigaraki's hand, or one of his hands from, when he has all his hands on his face, into Kurogiri's face and says, "Go save the other villains." And to me, this is another inconsistent plot point. Again, what is the point in having Kurogiri strapped up like this if he can just leave? As we see in this episode, right after he does this, first of all, President Mike does unleash his attack. And he completely unleashes a sound wave that is blowing right through Spinner. So first of all, if this attack was supposed to be strong enough to kill Kurogiri, doesn't this mean that it should have been strong enough to kill Spinner? So in this case, I have to believe that Spinner, who is clearly seen on the ground now, should be dead. But, no one in this area is going to die. No one dies here. So I'm assuming Spinner is alive, but he shouldn't be. And then, of course, Kurogiri all of a sudden is 100% free. What's the point of the restraints? Again, where is the security? Where is the pro heroes? Where is the doctors who are supposed to be watching over this guy? It just makes no sense. And so he's up and free. Apparently, he is now back to being Kurogiri for Shigaraki. And he decides to he starts to take action. And I'm just really disappointed in how that played out, because like I said, Spinner's going to be alive. And then I bet you, the next time we see him, he's going to stand up like nothing ever happened. And so I'm a little disappointed how this is all played out. But Kurogiri is now freed. He is loose, and he is going to take action. That is where we cut to the intermission of the episode. And then we went on to something kind of random, to be honest. But I guess it plays a part in the overall environment and how the weather change, we actually get a weather forecast of the United States. Why this is happening? It's because the western side of the U.S. is it's obviously closest to Japan, so I'm assuming that they are giving this weather forecast because of the fact that the weather surrounding Japan is changing because of all the fighting, all the quirks being activated that are changing the climate around Japan, and that's starting to come over the seas and affect the U.S. Now, as far as what this broadcast is for, I don't really know. It's just kind of random. It feels like it was just inserted in for no real reason. By the way, Weather Lady doesn't look like a American to me. It's kind of random. They could have just chose a generic, white lady as the American forecaster, but I don't know. It's just, to me, it's a little weird. It's just a little off. But apparently her name is Meryl, and she is a non all for one supporter. So basically, she's on the side of the heroes. And I think that, in a matter of speaking, I was confused at first because she doesn't look like she was supporting the heroes, but she holds this sign up saying no AFO. That's all for one. So she's making her claim on national broadcasts that she does not want to support all for one. And everyone's like, no, you shouldn't put this out there. You can't do this. Someone cuts a commercial and they're like, it's all over for us. The U.S. supports the heroes, not the villains, and the U.S. is doomed. Again, just a really random segment. I really didn't think this was needed, but it was giving us details into what's happening over Japan and how that's changing the weather. And then, of course, that will contribute into the scenes as we go into the rest of the episode. The climate, or the weather, is changing. It's getting darker. There's rain. There's wind. So I see what they're doing, but they could just did a random Japanese broadcast. I don't know. It just seems a little out of place, especially since even though it's the U.S., it was still in English, or it was still in Japanese, not in English. So I'm like, surely you could have got a voice actor. I don't know. I'm really confused on that scene. It was really random. In any case, so after that little scene with Meryl, we cut back to where Dabi is, and again, the episodes are just jumping everywhere. A little disappointing how it's jumping everywhere. The time frames of everything is just not good in this episode. But all of a sudden, as we remember from before, Dabi has reawakened with this new power that he, quote-unquote, copied from Shoto. And how he did this, who knows? It just makes zero sense. This is way too convenient for Dabi. He should have been defeated right there and then. And honestly, this makes all of Shoto's efforts to this point pointless. All the great scenes I was praising before were absolutely for nothing. And I'm like, Dabi doesn't deserve this power up. He really doesn't. There's no reason for it. And I'm very disappointed to see that this is the result that we're getting. But we can see that Lita is trying to pull Shota away because he can't handle the heat. Apparently, Dabi's flames are just so uncontrollably hot now than it was before, now that he has this new power, that, they're all kind of, helpless. I mean, we saw that Kido and Onima were basically cooked. They were burnt to a crisp. Again, they should be dead. Obviously, in this episode, they're nowhere in sight, so they should be dead. But Burnin, Shota, and Lita are the only ones left standing in that area. But Dabi is not concerned about them. Instead, he decides to start flying, by the way, with his flames, which I don't mind that. The flying part, I do not mind at all. He's spitting out fire from his body. Totally fine. However, something is unusual about all this that is happening. We clearly get an understanding that these flames are hotter now. They are hotter than they've ever been, even just moments before Shota defeated him. And Burnin actually picks up on this, and she says that I thought his body wasn't compatible with fire. And we know from the past that and from the past scenes that Dobby's body does get burned up. He does suffer from his own quirk. So she's right. How is his body still holding its shape of human form? Why is he not killing himself with all this heat? So something is definitely off, and we don't get an explanation for it. Obviously, I'm pretty sure it has something to do with the copied ability from Shota, but at this time, it still does not make any sense, because, like I said, I don't like that he was able to copy the effects, but, Dobby was already burning himself. Like, we clearly saw his skin has been burnt off completely. I mean, he looks like a freaking, monster at this point. He doesn't look like human at all. And yet, he's still perfectly fine. Again, time has passed now. We're talking straight up, at least half an hour. You're telling me that Dobby is just surviving all this time for no reason? Like, I don't understand how all of this is taking place. Again, the time frames is just so off now that we're just not gaining consistency or everywhere. And that was something I was afraid of. But we move on. Dobby starts to fly away, and he's like, shoot, if I keep burning like this, I'm not going to last until I get to my father. That's not good. Maybe I should just kill Shota and, bring him a present. But unfortunately, because Kurogiri was freed, all of a sudden, Skeptic tells him that Kurogiri's freed, and he will be transported to Endeavor's location. And so this is where one of those inconsistencies come in. I don't think... Well, actually, I guess this one makes sense. This one makes sense, now that I think about it. The time frame for Shota to defeat Dobby, and then this happens, and with the mob at the hospital freeing Kurogiri, this time frame would probably line up okay. So I'll give it credit for this one, but not the next ones. So yeah, Dobby's being teleported. He leaves. Then we go back to the coffin in the sky, and we know that we spent a lot of time here. A lot of time. Coffin in the Sky is one of the main locations, after all. And like I said, the weather has changed, and there's rain now. We clearly see there's some, the rain effect on the screen. Manuel, Phantom Thief, and Eraserhead are all trying their best to basically keep their composure, keep their quirks going, and keep Shigaraki from destroying everything with his decay quirk. And Mono even, Phantom Thief, rather, also states in this moment that, this is going down in the history books, and his only job is to not blink. It is the most easy, obviously, try not blinking, guys. It is not an easy job, if I have to say so myself. This is probably one of the most important jobs, if not the most important job of everyone here, besides, obviously, Deku defeating Shigaraki. And yet, he's putting so much pressure on himself, and I think to myself, this is his moment to be a real hero, and I think this is great that he believes in himself so much. So, I have no problems with Phantom Thief. Absolutely love him right now. But, all of a sudden, from right behind them, Kurogiri's coming through with President Mike, and we also see the hand that Spinner put onto his face. This hand, I think, is going to play a significant part in some fashion. Something with that hand is going to do something. I don't know what it is, but something's going to happen with it. There's no reason for it to be shown here. We don't see Spinner either. So I'm assuming Spinner is down, but he's left at the hospital, but not dead. And so he's going to... Spinner's going to come out of the hospital next episode, and he's going to be like, why did you guys stop fighting? Keep fighting! And all the PLF people are going to be like, yeah, let's keep going. And I'll be like, no, that's not how things work. That's not how it should have been done. But I don't know. We'll see. But this is how this scene at the Coffin in the Sky ended, with President Mike coming through. And I'm like, I don't know. It's kind of weird. Yeah, I'm not sure how this is going to play out. Overall, like I said, I don't like the consistency. The mob area at the hospital was a very short time period. And then all of a sudden, time frame wise, they're matched up with the Coffin in the Sky where they're at now. I don't agree. The Coffin in the Sky is literally should be a few minutes before, already ahead of what happened at the hospital, and yet conveniently the time frames are all matched up perfectly. I don't know about that. Obviously, there is no way to gauge the times from place to place, but there is one that we can gauge, and that is literally the next location. So next scene is showing Kurogiri, warping in to Endeavor's location, and we get to see these two. Obviously, we know that Dabi was transported to Endeavor's location, but then we see Twice. Twice has finally made his appearance. Now, we all know, let's be honest, we all know that it isn't really Twice. He's dead. He died to Hawks. He was assassinated. This is actually Toga. Himiko Toga. And we know that because she's mentioned it in the past that she does have his blood. And her quirk will allow her to become Twice and use his quirk. So this is clearly Toga, and he is coming through, or she, rather, I guess in this case, she is coming through Kurogiri's warp gate. Which, again, how does the time frame match up with this? I don't know. That's where we go into, though. We get to see the next scene after that. Okuto Island. We finally go back to where Deku just left the island. Okay, so if we remember when this war broke out, Deku was transported to Okuto Island by the means of Toga pulling him in through the warp gate. And in order to get to the Coffin in the Sky, Deku had to leave across the ocean. So we saw him leave. We saw what happened here as well with Toga. So by the way, I think we forgot that Uraraka got stabbed by a knife through her shoulder, because the shoulder arm that got hurt is the one that she is blocking with. So let's just forget about her injury. Second, what have they been doing since then? I thought, this is a resume of what happened after. No, this is time passing already after the fact. And you're telling me that's, 30 minutes of work, and you're telling me you still haven't done anything at this island? No, that's very inconsistent in time, and that's just stupid. Like, honestly, that's just really stupid. We even get to see the high-end Nomu, still attacking the Orca gang, the generic heroes here. And it's like, were you doing that last episode? Or not last episode, but the last time we saw you guys? It feels like no time has passed whatsoever. But then we get to see a couple other heroes. I don't know their names. I don't think they were ever mentioned. But look, all girls. Why are there so many girl heroes in the show right now? That's kind of funny. But yeah, they all team up to fight Toga. So now there's 4 of them. And apparently Uraraka states that these, or at least the left one, the pink one, is a sensory type. She can detect where Toga is going to be. And again, let's just look at the background, by the way. There is no land. It's open ocean. And by the way, they're standing. It's like everyone became Naruto characters. They can stand in water now. And you're telling me all of a sudden you can't find Toga, who is just in front of you? There is no water. Even if the Nomus do their splashing attacks that causes water to come up, again, the water is not deep. Look at their feet. If they're not walking on the water, then why are, they're only ankle high. Why is there so much water being pushed into the air and creating tsunami waves that blow them away? It makes no sense. The inconsistency is there again. They can't find Toga. She's able to erase her presence and just hide in the waves. And I'm like, that's a terrible excuse. And then we get another scene where we see Gang Orca, the leader, the pro hero leader of this area, taking on the high-end Nomu that has been causing havoc. This is the one that splits his body parts and becomes like thorns. And we clearly see that Gangorka is fighting him. We get this scene where he's, taking him head on, literally head on, and is, we don't know if he's winning or not, but he is doing something. He is clearly in a one-on-one fight, and I also think that, hey, Gangorka is one of the top heroes, like what, 12, I think it was. He should be able to take this guy on one-on-one. However, we don't get that. Instead, during the fight with Toga, she pulls out a blood sample to get ready to use. And she even states, whose ever blood is it? Shigaraki's, Dabi's, I think she said, just let it be a good one. So it's almost like she doesn't know. She's not saying it out loud. She's just thinking it. So she pulls it out, and Froppy sees this, and she immediately uses her tongue to snatch it away. And the blood gets onto her tongue, and then Toga's like, Toga's like, haha, it was a fake. Froppy's always so smart, trying to think calm, but it's actually a fake. It's, some kind of chemical that attracts Nomus. And I'm like, wait, what? That makes no sense. You just happen to have that, and you just pull it out suddenly. So now the high-end Nomu that Gangorka was going one-on-one with, literally the scene before, is now all of a sudden not finding Gangorka and is going to attack Froppy for no reason. Or no, not no reason, but obviously he's attracted to it, her tongue now. Like, it makes no sense. Where did Gangorka go? Where did all the other pro heroes go? We clearly see that the pro heroes have the upper hand here. They've already captured some of the villains. Where is everybody? Toga even states that with less villains around, there's less shockwaves in the water to cover her presence. So why is it that all of a sudden, this high-end Nomu has no one to fight with and decides, Froppy's the target, let's fight her? No, that makes no sense. But we clearly see that it does attack her, using its thorns attacks to attack and try and stab her into the water. And the result is that I guess she got hurt, but we see another Froppy come up. And I'm like, wait. What just happened? Toga drank Froppy's blood. I don't know when or how, but she did instantaneously at the same time that that attack came. And supposedly, I think, the implications are here that Toga saves Froppy. Froppy is the one on the left. She is the one who is down and injured. Quote-unquote injured. We don't see an injury, though, except for, scuff marks on her uniform. But apparently Toga decided, I'm going to save this person who I just put into danger. In which she shouldn't care, because she needs to defeat everybody. Which the only way to defeat everybody is to kill them. So again, I don't understand what is happening here. No one is dying. No one dies in My Hero, right? So I don't understand what's happening here. But Toga saves her, and we get this scene where she's drinking now twice his blood. And the effect is that she became twice, instantaneously no less, and is starting to multiply just like twice would. And that actually leads to, the realization that this is bad. And like I said, this should have been moments after Deku left, because Toga also states that she has no idea if Spinner will be able to accomplish what they quote unquote planned to do, which I don't know how that could have been planned necessarily, because your hope is that Spinner would infiltrate the hospital in time and free Kurogiri to save you guys and bring you guys back together. I don't agree with that. That's way too hopeful thinking on All For One's part. So, very, very unlikely to have been the plan from the get-go. But she is saying that, this was her last resort. She has no choice but to use it now and hope that Kurogiri somehow appears. Which, by the way, Kurogiri does appear, and that in turn leads to this scene where she is now multiplying into many twice, and they are all going through the portal to go to Endeavor's location. And Kurogiri even asked her, like, what do you want to do? And she's like, take me to Hawks. He will die. And I'm like, oh my goodness. That's revenge right there. So Toga's leaving. And Uraraka can't do anything. Froppy's down for the count, apparently. It doesn't look like she got hurt either, to be honest. She's just, I don't know, tired looking. And again, like I said, Froppy's probably going to come back in the next scene that we see her in, and she's going to be 100% fine. So, I don't know. Again, no one gets hurt, no one gets killed in here, and it's very disappointing. The tension is not there anymore. A few episodes now, and there's like no tension. No one's in danger of dying. And I'm like, that's not what war is. You know, that's why the past couple episodes have been rated so low, because there's nothing happening. And it's very disappointing. There is things happening on the battlefields, and yet nothing is getting done. No one's doing anything right. So I am nitpicking about it, but I have to because it just doesn't make sense. But Twice goes through. We see a bunch of bodies coming through now. We're talking like, I don't know, maybe even 1 million bodies at this point. It's hard to say. But we see Hawks' hair, by the way, his head. This is the pant up section. Yeah, Twice bodies are literally dropping like rain from the warp gate. He's come through and is multiplying still. And then we finally get to see Sad Man's Parade. We also see the warp gate, by the way, and we see some more Twice just falling from the sky. By the way, I didn't even notice that before when I took this picture. Look at the left side. Look at Dabi. He's a giant. Dabi is literally like the size of a mountain right now. What the heck? Wow, I did not even notice that. That's actually kind of weird. And that is not a close-up view. He isn't in our faces, because that clearly is behind the mountains. You know, behind the forest. Dabi is the size of a mountain right there. Holy crap. In any case, we see the Sad Man's Parade. It's an army of Twice. Why here? I don't know, to be honest. Because, honestly, what should have happened was Kurogiri warped All For One to Shigaraki's location. But instead, everyone is actually coming to this location. So I'm a little concerned about why that is. Like, isn't the whole goal is to capture One For All? So shouldn't All For One just be gone already? No, he's still here. And he's still doing stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. The inconsistency in the time frame just doesn't make sense. But I like the scene, though. I think the scene is cool, regardless that Dabi is like a mountain-sized giant. But overall, I love this. When I saw this, I was like, oh my goodness. The villains are making a comeback. And things are not going to be good for Endeavor and Hawks, including the other heroes that are here, which we can see in the bottom left. There's still fighting going on. I don't think that should be the case, because it did seem like the heroes were gaining the upper hand, and All For One was pretty much the only one left. But I guess that's not the case anymore. But overall, great looking scene. I love this frame right here. Absolutely amazing. And then to finish the episode, we get a close-up scene of Dabi and Twice, you know, and basically shouting out that they're ready to fight Endeavor and Hawks. And so that's how the episode ended. Relatively short. Another episode where opening credits, ending credits take time. Preview, obviously, at the end. And a small recap. But we only got 16 to 17 minutes of runtime. Kind of short, in my opinion, especially for the information that we got. And like I said, I just didn't like it. So I have a sticky note here of all my plot points I just didn't like. Yeah, pretty much I did say everything that I wanted to. So I am very disappointed. Time jumps from both forward and back, and throughout the episode was very jumbled. The POF ceasefire, 100% compliance from all the guys outside. Like, that was weird. Spinner should be dead, but he's probably not going to be dead. Gang Orca versus the Gnome attacking Froppy. That where'd he go? Who knows where Gang Orca went? The time passing from when Deku left the Okoto Island to now, it just doesn't make sense how nothing has happened thus far. And then, of course, no guards at Kurogiri's location, so he was free to just be awakened and leave. What were the restraints for? If those restraints couldn't hold him in, then what's the point of even doing that? Like, shouldn't he have been in, like, a security prison or something? Obviously, the other prison was, broken into, but like a hidden location or something. I don't know. It just seemed too easy. It seemed way too easy for the villains to just get their way, and because of that, I'm going to end this episode saying it was a 3 out of 10. It was a bad episode. 4 is below average. 5 would be average, but 3, just straight up, it was a bad episode. I didn't like it. There's not much good to take from it, to be honest. And like I said, I had a hard time choosing a hero of the episode. Tentacle is the only one who actually did something. He technically diffused the PLF mob. So overall, no one else did anything. No one else did any work. President Mike didn't beat Spinner. Apparently he let him go so he can, talk to Kurogiri. And no one else did anything anywhere else. So it's hard to choose. So Tentacle gets it. 2 episodes in a row, albeit very weak for both episodes, to be honest. But that's just the way it goes, I guess. But that's it for this one. I really don't know what else to say. I just didn't like it. It's just not an episode for me. Maybe it resonated with someone else. Maybe you guys liked it. I'm not sure. I didn't care for this episode. It is by far the weakest of the entire season. We are 15 episodes in now, and this is the only one that I've rated a 3 or lower. But overall, like I said, it still has good animation, good voice acting. It's just the story itself just kind of went downhill from here, just for a couple episodes. I'm pretty sure in the next few now that we've established all these other plot points, even if it is inconsistent with time and everything like that, this is where things will start to pick up. I think this is where we're going to get a lot of action and a lot of battling. And I hope, if you're going to jump from all these locations, I really do hope we go back to the Gigantomachia location and we see what's happening over there. Because that's the location I kind of wanted to see. That involves some of the class, actually a lot of the Class 1A heroes, as well as Mountain Lady, and, mostly because I want to know what's going on between Pinky and that one villain who states to have killed Midnight. I want to know what's happening there, because, let's be honest, Midnight was a very loved character. If you didn't like her, you're wrong. Like, there's no way you couldn't have liked Midnight. She was a very likable character. And then same thing with Pinky. She is a very likable character. She is I would say she is one of the more main characters of Class 1A. If you were to divide it in half, like, bottom half would be, like, side characters, for characters that don't matter as much. Pinky would be the above half, and I want to know what happens there. So, overall, if you're going to jump around and, look at all the battlefields, especially with the time frames, they have to show this location. There's no reason for Kurogiri to not really go there and, do something over there. Because there's a lot of things he can do over there. But overall, that's it. I'm done rambling about this one. I'm just going to move on. I'm going to put this one behind me and focus on the future. And hopefully we get some really good action scenes in the future. Because things are really starting to heat up now that we've gone these things all the way. Hopefully we get to resume Shigaraki's battle as well. But as for Hawks and Endeavor, it looks like they're gonna lose. Like, I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. They have to die. There's no reason for them not. They're already injured. They're already weakened. There's no reason for them not to die at this point. I mean, you got Dabi, All for One, and Twice there now. Like, these are the biggest, baddest bad guys now in this location amongst other people. Like, there's no reason for the heroes to not come out of this unscathed at that location. So that's just my thoughts, though. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Hit the like button on this video if you enjoyed my review, and of course subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Stay tuned for next week. Hopefully we pick it up in the ratings as far as my ratings are concerned. But if you guys enjoy this, let me know as well. But for now, that's it. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys have a great day, have a great week, and then I'll see you guys for the next one. Bye-bye.